Hi everyone, it's Michelle from Poochie Baby, and today we're going to start a tutorial on how to alter a composition book. It's going to be a three-part tutorial, and in the first part I'll show you guys the supplies you're going to need and how to do the prep work on the book before you get started. In the second part, I'm going to work on the inside of the book and getting that decorated and altered, and in the third part we're going to work on the outside of the book and finishing it off. So let's get started. Some of the supplies you're going to need to alter this composition book are scrapbook paper, and I have 5 sheets of 8.5 by 11 paper in just a variety of colors in greens and purples, and I have 1 sheet of 12 by 12 cardstock, and it's kind of a lilac color. I'm going to use this to make the page that holds my pen loop for the journal. And this paper just came from a recollections pad that I purchased at Michael's. You're also going to be sure to have your composition book. This one is not a standard size composition book. It is a little bit smaller. It's 7.8 by 5.5, but this is the one I'm going to use to make the tutorial. You also need elastic. This is for the pin loop in the book. It's 3/4 inch elastic that I've just purchased at Walmart. You're going to need a stapler to staple that on. You're also going to need some type of double-sided tape, and you can have the score tape. I have 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch score tape, and I wanted to show you the packages so you can see what it looks like. But if you see here, you may see me pull this out. This is my score tape. It's a jumbled mess. It got all tangled, so you might see me pull it off of there. This is where I use it from. We may also need a ruler. I'm not sure if we're going to need that. You'll need a Sharpie. I use the king size, but any black Sharpie will do. You're going to need glue. This is an Elmer's Craft Bond glue stick, which has this small pin tip at one side and just a regular tip here on this side. We may use this just to secure some edges down on the paper. You're going to need a glue stick or an ATG gun. I'm going to use this for the tutorial, so if you have one of these, it'll make it much easier to complete the tutorial. If not, you'll need to use the glue stick to glue the pages down. I think that's it for the supplies. Of course, we have the scissors. I will put a list of all the supplies in the description box below so that you can be sure to have everything that you need before you get started working on the composition book. So we'll move on to part 1, where we prep the book, and for that you're just going to need your Sharpie. On to step 1. In order to have a clean and finished look on your composition book when you're done, we're going to need to black out several areas of the book, inside and out. So just take your Sharpie, and I'm going to start doing that and show you guys how I do it, where I do the outside of the book, and then I'll show you how I do the inside of the book. So all of the outside edges are now blacked out, plus this little strip here around the side. This one is thinner than the standard composition book. The standard composition books is a little thicker, and the white along the edges is more noticeable. So I always like to go along and do that edge there. So now for the inside, we're going to do the same. We're going to go all along the outside edges and do some of the inside pages and the back cover. As you can see, I went all the way to that inside seam and just did about 1/2 inch of coloring here. And you don't have to be neat. It's all going to be covered up with scrapbook paper. And I did that for the first 2 pages in this book. So all along this front line here on the inside, on that seam, this first page and the second page. And on this one, I should have done it the way I did this one. You can just flip that, do this side, because it'll bleed through the paper and color the other side for you, and it'll already be done. So all of that, all the edging is done, and then on the back cover, I just very carefully went and did that line there, and I can actually touch that up a little bit, just to cover up all that stitching, just to kind of give it a finished look. I just try to be careful back here because I'm going to leave this last page like that. I'm not going to put any scrapbook paper on there, so I don't want to get it too messy or too many Sharpie marks on there. And the back cover is done just the same all the way around the edges, because we're going to put scrapbook paper on that also. And that's it for prepping the book. Everything is blacked in, and we're ready to start decorating the inside of the book. And that will be part 2. And I will be back tomorrow with that part. And I will see you then.